On our recent trip to Ireland, we flew from Pensacola to Dublin via Atlanta, of course. Once in Dublin, we used the European equivalent of Uber, called Free Now, for booking rides all around the city. Our first stop was the Zanzibar Lock Hotel/Apartments in the city center. Zanzibar Lock is conveniently located to all the Dublin attractions we had planned to see and made a good hub for our travels around Europe. Our first excursion was an all-day bus trip to Northern Ireland. Our first stop was the Titanic Museum at the Belfast Shipworks. We pre-booked this excursion through Viator. It included stops in Belfast and the Giant's Causeway further north. We headed north on the M1 and were quickly in the lovely Irish countryside. Titanic Belfast is a massive 150,000 square foot structure that accommodates 9 galleries of interactive exhibitions, including a dark ride, underwater exploration theater, and recreations of the ship's cabins. Titanic Belfast is located 100 meters in front of where Titanic's hull was constructed and launched. To its right is the drawing office where she was designed, and to the left is the Victoria Channel, from where she first set sail. From here, we headed north to Bushmills and the Giant's Causeway. The weather here was much cooler, wet, and windy.
So this is the North Antrim coast. Yeah, brilliant. If you look directly over, that's Scotland. You can clearly see Scotland today. For every 10 times I do this, maybe you'll only get that view 3 or 4 times. So here's another famine cottage on the right. Yeah, so directly over, that's Scotland now. See it there? You're going to get a much clearer view later.
Before heading down to the Giant's Causeway, we made a quick stop at Dunluce Castle. These castle ruins date back to the 16th century and were inhabited by both the McQuillan and MacDonald clans. The Giant's Causeway Visitor Center boasts a hotel and 2 restaurants. We stopped here and boarded the shuttle for the trip down to the Causeway. The Giant's Causeway formed around 60 million years ago. At that time, Ireland was still attached to North America. As Europe was ripping away from North America, it created huge rifts in the Earth's surface. Those rifts produced cracks, and up through those cracks came lots of molten rock and lava, eventually cooling and being eroded into the crazy geometric shapes we see here today. Back at the Visitor Center, we decided to take a break from the wind and rain with a hot bowl of Irish stew and a Guinness to wash it down. With our bellies full and thirst quenched, we got on the bus for the ride back to Dublin.
Largest castle in Northern Ireland. Have a look at that. Look what's left of it. That's it. 1976 it was wiped out with the storm. See the ship over there. But that's it. That was Dunseverick Castle. Not the largest anymore, but we keep our old ruins in Ireland.
The next morning, we boarded the Dublin hop-on, hop-off bus to see the sights.
Sweet Molly Malone, now a ghost wheels her bows through the streets, no weather out true. As I lifted her fish, cold hazy and snow, as I tied up the sleeves of the as one first the sound we brought used to sing coming up here, it's out, trapped out escort, if anybody remember those cars. He's never trapped out escort, he used to sing that going by with 30 years.
Our first hop off was the world famous Guinness Storehouse. Probably the highlight of our visit to Dublin was the Guinness Storehouse. This place is everything Guinness. We learned all about brewing Guinness, barreling Guinness, shipping Guinness, and advertising Guinness. But the true highlight was learning to pour the perfect pint of Guinness. Our next stop was the relatively new Teeling Distillery in the Newmarket section of Dublin. Today's Teeling brand logo is a phoenix rising from the ashes. In this case, the ashes of the Irish whiskey market collapse that reduced the number of distilleries from over 100 to just 2. The Teeling brothers opened the new distillery in the Liberties, the same neighborhood the original family distillery operated in 125 years ago. This area of the city, known as the Whiskey Triangle, has always been the epicenter of distilling and brewing in Ireland. Our tour guide gave us an education on Irish whiskey making, the triple distilling process, and the family-like atmosphere behind the Teeling brand. We sampled 4 different whiskeys that really showcased the Teeling product line. And of course, we couldn't leave without having an Irish coffee, complete with a shot of Teeling Irish whiskey. Having thoroughly enjoyed the Teeling Distillery, we climbed aboard the hop-on hop-off bus for our next destination, the Kilmainham Jail. Kilmainham Jail can be reached via a short walk past the Irish Museum of Modern Art. For over 100 years, Kilmainham Jail housed thousands of men, women, and children for crimes that range from petty offenses to the involvement in some of the biggest events in Irish history. Visiting Kilmainham Jail is like taking a trip through Irish history. We heard the stories of people held here as common criminals, alongside those who fought for Irish independence. From the 1798 rebellion through the Irish Civil War, Kilmainham Jail played a pivotal role in the events that shaped Ireland. The jail was severely overcrowded by the onset of the Great Famine due to the increase in crimes relating to the theft of food and by the incarceration of those with mental illnesses. Cells which had been designed for one person at one point held as many as 5 at a time. The list of political prisoners incarcerated or executed here is a virtual who's who in the Irish struggle for independence from British rule. Most were executed by firing squad in this very courtyard that also doubled as the stonebreaker's yard. That evening called for a special dinner. We had made reservations at the Bull and Castle, located directly across from Christ Church Cathedral. The restaurant had a pub-style ambience, but was anything but pub-like. The smoked old-fashions and cocktails were top-notch. Bull and Castle is owned by FX Buckley Steakhouses and offers some of the best steaks this side of Texas. They have been in operation for over 25 years, so they're definitely doing something right. Here's a portrait of some very satisfied customers. Once again, we took advantage of our hop-on, hop-off bus tickets for a trip to the Jamesons Bow Street Distillery. In 1780, there were over 100 breweries and distilleries operating in Dublin. John Jameson's whiskey quickly rose to the top of the crowded market through his triple distilling process. Due to the success of Jameson whiskey, by the 1880s, Bow Street stretched over 6 acres of the Dublin city centre. Today, we took a tour of the former distillery and a class on blending the perfect tasting Irish whiskey. We stopped in the Rick House for a quick sample of cask strength whiskey right out of the bunghole before heading to the blending room. It was here that we learned how blending different aged whiskeys along with different proofs and barrel chars all work together to create a perfect tasting Irish whiskey. The finished product. From here, we headed to Trinity College, the oldest university in Dublin, established by Queen Elizabeth I in 1592. Here we would take a tour to see the world-famous Book of Kells. The manuscript is currently on display in the old library at Trinity College. What is the Book of Kells, you ask? The Book of Kells is an illuminated manuscript containing the 4 Gospels of the New Testament, along with various prefectory texts and tables. It was created in a Columban monastery in either Ireland, Scotland, or England. It is thought to have been created around 800 AD. The book is made of vellum, a parchment made from calf skin. It is estimated the original book was made from the skins of over 185 calves. This is the Book of Kells. It is kept in a secure room under lock and key. No photography is allowed. The main chamber of the old library is the Long Room. Built between 1712 and 1732, it is nearly 215 feet long and houses over 200,000 of the library's oldest books. It is one of the most impressive libraries in the world. The Long Room also houses the Brian Boru harp, the oldest known surviving Irish harp, which has become the traditional symbol of Ireland. For our final night in Ireland, we booked reservations for the Irish house party in the Lansdowne Hotel. Dinner was a 3-course affair, complete with traditional Irish dishes. After dinner, we all retired to the basement auditorium to enjoy the show. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If so, please give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.